So in the last week, as you can tell from the title, I've made $10,000 trading Forex. I'm gonna break down these exact 2 trades, show you proof on these trades as well, and explain to you how I was able to do this all in this video, okay? So let's not waste any time. Let's literally just go straight onto the laptop and break this down. And by the way, guys, you need to watch the whole video, okay? If you can't sit through this video, I don't know how long it will be. Might be 20 minutes, might be 15 minutes, might be longer. But if you can't sit through this video and watch me break down these trades that literally made me $10,000, actually a lot more to be honest, probably more like, maybe like 12, then you're not gonna be successful. So watch the whole video because I'm just gonna give you gems for completely free. There's no catch, there's no upsell. I'm just gonna break down these trades that made me all this money this week because this week's been insane. So let's go. All right guys, so the first thing I'm gonna do right here is show you the DXY chart. I've actually replayed it back to the start of last week because I wanna go over the DXY. And in case you don't use the DXY in your trading, this will already improve your trading. So before the video's even begun, if you don't already use DXY, start using it and your trading's already improved. So I've already helped you, okay? Now, why do we use the DXY? We use the DXY because the DXY does the inverse of what EU and GU are going to do. So, for example, if the DXY goes higher, EU and GU are going to go lower. And if it does the opposite will happen for EU and GU. If DXY goes down, EU and GU goes up, okay? So that's the first thing you need to understand. And that is why I look on DXY, because if I can understand what DXY is doing, then I can also understand the direction on the higher time frame that EU and GU will go, because it's simply the inverse, okay? So, like I said, this is 1 week ago. So I've replayed the price back. And this is my thoughts when I was looking at price at this time. So 1 week ago, this is what I was thinking, okay? So, right here on the charts, it looked like at the time we were reacting to this daily fair value gap. However, when I was doing my Sunday analysis that I do every single Sunday, it didn't look like we were reacting to it enough to start a move down, okay? Because yes, we filled it, but if you have a look here at this candle right here, right? This daily candle here, it wasn't really enough. And also this candle here, it definitely didn't look like it was gonna respect it because yes, it went lower here on Tuesday the 13th, but then Wednesday the 13th gave us this massive rejection candle to the upside. So initially my thought process for the start of this week was that what I might look to do is see DXY go lower, form the low of the week, okay, after taking out this low right here, and then go higher once the low of the week has been formed. So that was my overall bias for the week. And this is very, very important to understand because this is the reason for my trades that I've taken. And it's so important. I can't stress enough how important this is. This may seem simple, but the framework for your trades is more important than the trades itself, okay? And like I said one more time, the framework that I was looking for this week was DXY to go lower, form the low of the week after taking this liquidity here and tapping into, right here, this daily fair value gap, okay? And then pushing higher to target this high up here, which was the previous week high. So I'm gonna write this up here as well. This is the previous week high, and I was thinking price is gonna tap this daily fair value gap, take liquidity from here, and come towards the previous week high. And that is the reason for my trades this week. So if that's my thought process for DXY, now let's go to EU and explain my thought process for EU. And by the way, this is very, very important. And like I said, if you're not doing this in your trading, guys, this is why you're not successful because you don't spend enough time on the higher time frame, okay? So, like I've already said, my thought process for DXY was DXY to go lower first to then go higher. So, what are we going to expect for EU, sorry? Higher first to then go lower, okay? So, at the time, I was thinking, EU can maybe take these highs, react to something in here, form the high of the week up here after grabbing this liquidity from these highs, and then come down towards the previous week low right here, okay? That was my thought process for EU, and that's the reason why I actually ended up taking a sell on Tuesday, which I'll break down in just a second. So this is the previous week low, which I was looking to target, and that is the framework for EU. So let's now skip onto Tuesday because I don't trade Mondays, and analyze the trade that I ended up taking. All right, so right here is Tuesday. And if you remember, I literally drew out this arrow of what I was wanting on the higher time frame, okay? So if I go back to the daily time frame, like I said, I was looking for EU to go higher, grab this liquidity like it literally did here on Monday. But by the way, I don't trade Mondays, which is why I didn't trade this liquidity grab. And instead I waited for Tuesday, okay? But as you can see, the framework is playing out. We grabbed this liquidity early on in the week. So I was expecting here Tuesday to go lower because we've now taken the liquidity from here so that it's now reasonable to think that the high of the week can be placed in this area here, okay? So that was then the reason for me looking for a sell on Tuesday. We saw our sweep of liquidity on Monday, taking out that high there, the previous week high, which we took right here. And now on Tuesday, I was simply looking for a reaction to this supply zone, which I drew out something like this, okay? And that basically was the reason for me taking those sells on Tuesday. The framework was there, the framework was playing out perfectly, and all I needed to do now was simply wait for a confirmation inside of this supply zone right here and target Asia low down here. And also, if I wanted to, I could have targeted maybe, you know, this low down here being the previous day low, okay, from Monday. But I didn't end up doing that, as you'll see in a minute. So anyway, that was my reasoning for taking this trade. And by the way, I just want to show you as well that I call out every single trade inside of my community. So as you can see here, inside of my Discord, I literally sent in a screenshot of what I wanted to happen before it even happened, okay? And I trade live with them every single day, and they know I do this. I called out this exact position, and this was what happened after. A winning trade, okay? So let's break this down. Like I've already said, I'm looking for a sell in this supply zone right here. However, I'm not gonna sell until we touch this supply zone. And this is very, very important. A lot of people might be impatient. They might not wait for the supply zone to actually get mitigated, and they end up selling early. But that's not what you need to do. You have to be patient enough to wait for your zones. So let's play out price a little bit, right? What we saw here was a very good example of inducement. So inducement right here of these highs basically means these early sellers here were stopped out of the position, okay? And if you trade, for example, quite mechanically, then maybe you would have taken a sell here. After you saw Asia high sweep, you might just take a sell straight away. But the reality of that is that you're not actually trading with the higher time frame, and you're not trading from a good supply zone. So that's why I didn't take the sell from anywhere in here. And instead I waited for this inducement to happen, which I'll actually draw out right here, inducement, like that. I waited for price to come into the supply zone here, and then when it tapped it, that's when I started looking for a trade. So let's skip another 15 minutes. And we're starting to see right here, very, very good wick rejections right here. Okay, you can see we're wicking away from this supply zone here. And I believe this trade right here made me about $8,000. Now, I don't actually have my phone on me, but so you're probably gonna think I'm lying, but I will have the screenshots and I will show you that it wasn't a funded account, and I'll put the screen recording somewhere up on the screen. But I literally don't have my phone on me, I swear. Like it was out of battery, I had to leave it upstairs. But I promise you, I took this on a funded account, and I'm actually getting annoyed now that I didn't take my phone downstairs. I kind of forgot. But the screenshots will be up somewhere here, and my community will vouch for me, whatever, right? But anyway, okay, this trade made me about $8,000. The screenshots will be somewhere here. And the reason I'm telling you that is because I just want people to understand that this is actually possible, right? When I was watching videos like this, probably 2 years ago when I was looking into trading, I would have thought it was a lie. I would have thought all of these guys here telling me all of these things don't actually do it, but I do it. And it's because I learned how to do it, and you can do it as well, okay? So anyway, right? I was looking for sells in this area here, and then as you can see, I think it's around now. Okay, not yet. So here, okay, boom. Now, this is when I was looking to take the trade. And in fact, I took the trade slightly earlier, but it was basically, once we broke past, okay, if I get rid of this, once we broke past these lows here, right? These lows here is when I started to take the trade. And now, this here was actually quite a late entry for me. Normally, And how I teach my members inside of my community, I would say to them, enter once we break past, for example, these lows here, right? These lows here cause this big move up to the upside here. And a break below this is very, very safe, okay? That there is a very strong change of character. And I would have said 100% you can take this trade here. However, I've started trading with a bit of a bigger stop loss. So that's why I entered a little bit late, just to make sure it made sense. Somewhere down here, or it might have actually been up here. I'll have to check. The screenshots will be somewhere here. And then my stop loss was above these highs, okay? Because you want to make sure that you're covering the highs. And then the target for the trade was, of course, Asia low, okay? So that was basically what the trade looked like. I think that's pretty accurate. It is honestly a shame I don't have my phone because I can't see my exact entries, but it was something like this, okay? That was the trade idea. And it was actually really interesting how this trade ended up playing out. So stick with me because the exit on this trade was perfect, okay? So yeah, this is the trade right here. This is the first trade of the week. And let's play it out. As you can see, oh, and by the way, let me show you DXY at the same time, okay? Because this is important. At the same time that this is happening, DXY, right? It's taken out the previous day low liquidity. So it's grabbed liquidity from the downside, right? Let me actually mark this out here. Previous day low. It's grabbed liquidity from the downside. So if it's grabbed liquidity from here, my thought process was that it's going to go higher, okay? I thought DXY's grabbed liquidity. It's tapped the daily fair value gap. Remember the one that I marked out at the start? And now it makes sense to now go higher from here. So that was also a confluence in this trade. DXY was also giving me a good confirmation as well. So let's now go back to EU. Okay, so on EU, I wasn't at break even yet, so this is fine, right? And I just trusted the process. It ended up going down again. And actually, I ended up scaling in again as well. I wish I had my phone, but you guys will see on the screenshot, I scaled in somewhere around here, with my new stop loss above here, above this high right here, okay? And when I did this, I then moved my original position to break even. So this basically meant, right, and this is a really advanced tactic and a very, very good thing to do to make money on those funded accounts and also on challenged accounts, right, is scaling in. I was able to basically double my risk, double the risk on the table, right, and double my profits, but actually keep the risk the same because on this first position, and let me explain this, on this first position here, I risked 1%, right, on this one right here, okay, and let me actually use an arrow. So on this first position, I risked 1%. And then on the second position, I risked 1 more percent. So technically, I'm now in 2% risk, right? So this is 1 more percent. However, because I moved the first one to break even, there is now no risk on the table. So this becomes 0% risk, right? And this is now 1% risk, meaning I've only got 1% risk on the table, but the profits is 2% because this trade and this trade is still running in profit. So that is basically how I was able to make so much money on this trade. And then, yeah, that was basically the scaling position. And now we'll see what happens, okay? So price was going good. And it was around 1 p.m. So yeah, around 1 p.m. here that I started to think that potentially we might react to the sweep of this liquidity here, okay? And also at the same time, I'm going to show you what GU was doing as well. GU, look at what it did here. GU has swept Asia low, okay? GU has grabbed Asia low, but EU has not taken out Asia low. Asia low is still here. Asia low is still not taken out. And this is what's known as SMT, okay? So I'm going to draw this out on the screen here as well. This here, honestly guys, this is the most valuable video I've ever made. I swear. If you guys are not seeing value from this, then I don't even know, bro, like this is insane value and I should not post this video because honestly, this is insane value. I'm teaching you so much stuff, okay? So anyway, EU hasn't taken out Asia low, but GU has, okay? So one more time, GU's taken out Asia low here, EU has not. And this is SMT. This is essentially a divergence between GU and EU. And as a result of this happening, okay, as a result of this divergence, it basically means that EU now doesn't need to go and take out Asia low because GU has already taken it out. And therefore it doesn't need to take it out on EU. And that is why, guys, I closed this trade early around this level right here for about a 1 to 3. Okay, so that is it. I ended up closing the trade around here, around this sort of consolidation area right here, because of the SMT, and it actually ended up playing out really well because I think it went to break even. Yeah, it would have stopped me out at break even afterwards. So the exit was perfect, guys. And I'll put the exit screenshot somewhere up here so you guys can see I'm not lying. Because bro, it was such a perfect exit. The entry was great, the trade was perfect, and like I said, guys, I literally called this out in my community. Okay, like, bro, spot on. Okay, this right here is my scale-in position here. So this was the scale-in, and then obviously, like I said, my first entry was up here. Okay, and that was it. That was the first trade of the week. It was a very good trade, and it made me like $8,000. Okay, I'll have to check my accounts and put the screenshots up, but it was a very good trade. And now it's time to go on to Thursday, which is the other trade I've taken. Now, before I do that, let me actually skip to Wednesday because I didn't end up trading Wednesday, and I will explain why as well. Okay, I can't actually remember why, but I think there was just no setups. Okay, I remember why, right? So on Wednesday, sorry, right? Remember how I was looking for sells on EU, right? I was thinking EU is going to go lower. Now, when this didn't happen, when I saw that Wednesday and Tuesday evening ended up playing out bullish for EU, now in my head, I need to think, okay, my bias might be wrong because why are we seeing this massive uptrend here? Maybe my bias is wrong, and maybe DXY, okay, doesn't want to go and actually reverse from this daily fair value gap here. So this leads on to actually the reasoning for me taking a buy on GU on Thursday, which is obviously against my bias. However, it was against my bias initially, but then after seeing this, right, let me skip it forward a little bit more. After seeing, hold on. Okay, here we go. My bad, guys. One sec. After seeing, right, Wednesday here closed below the daily fair value gap here. That's when I knew my bias was wrong, okay? Because, like I said at the start of the week, I was wanting DXY to respect this daily fair value gap and go higher, which is why I was looking for sells on EU on Tuesday, which played out. However, after that happened, we ended up not respecting this daily fair value gap and going through it. So I now changed my bias, which is fine to do. You need to reevaluate your trading when you are on the charts. I then changed my bias to now target these lows down here. And that's acceptable to do. Sometimes as traders, you need to accept that you're wrong. And in this case, I was wrong. In this case, DXY wanted to go lower and I had to change my bias so that I wasn't on the wrong side of the market anymore. And that's what I did. And that is why I didn't trade on Wednesday, because I was still sort of unsure about my bias. But as we will see, okay, actually let me go to GU because I ended up trading GU on Thursday instead of EU. But anyway, here's Wednesday. Here's how Wednesday played out. I didn't end up trading Wednesday for quite a few reasons. First reason being I didn't have a clear understanding of the market because obviously my bias initially was bearish on GU and EU, but then I had to change it. So then it confused me and I thought, you know what, it's better off just not trading because I'm a bit confused. And that's fine to do. It's okay to accept that you don't understand what's going on and leaving the charts. And that's what I did on Wednesday. Okay? And also the Asian range here was a bit big. Yeah, the Asian range here was a bit big. It's not very good. I prefer trading Asian ranges like this one here, where they're a lot smaller and those are better, okay? So, yeah. Whew, guys, honestly, I'm getting tired, but this is value. Seriously, guys. This is insane value, bro. You can tell I'm getting excited because this is actually gonna help someone's change their life. Because honestly, this is insane. The value in this video, guys, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, guys, please subscribe. Honestly, this is insane value. This is stuff that I would only really give to my community, but it's just been such a good week that I just feel like making this video and just giving you everything because, bro, it's just been, everything's been going so well for me. You know, crypto's doing really well. Bitcoin's hit all-time highs. I made so much money from that. Last week was amazing on the Forex markets. Bro, it's just amazing, right? So anyway, let me continue, okay? Now we're on to Thursday, right? Now we are on to Thursday. And now keep in mind, okay, on Thursday, my bias has changed. On Thursday, I'm now thinking that what I want to see is, like I said as well before, my bias now is for DXY to go lower, okay? Keep this in mind. My bias for Thursday, let me get rid of this, is for DXY to go lower towards this low down here. And then as a result, my bias for GU has now changed as well to go higher, okay? So that's why I was looking to basically take buys on GU. I was thinking if DXY is going to go down, then GU will go higher. So yeah, now let's go back to the 15-minute chart, and I will show you basically the trade that I took. So let's skip forward to here, okay? But before I break it down, let me actually show you guys the Discord, just to show you that I actually called out this trade yet again inside of my Discord. So as you can see, I was looking for a reaction in this area here, okay? And then look at what happened. Boom, perfect reaction from the exact area that I wanted to see. I just got a notification that my battery is running out on my laptop, so I need to wrap this up. But you guys can see right there, yet again, second trade of the week, perfectly predicted, 100% win rate, okay? Boom. Now, so this here is Thursday. And like I said, on Thursday, and I changed my bias, so I was looking for GU to go higher. So something like this, sweep out Asia low, target this high up here was my initial thoughts for this trade. And like I said, I've already sent it into the group. So we wait for Asia low to get swept. Sorry guys, I need to rush because the battery's gonna last, it's gonna die soon. But around this point here, when you swept Asia low, and we were coming into sort of, you know, a nice looking sort of demand area down here. Right? It wasn't amazing, but there was buying pressure here from yesterday. So I used this sort of as a flip zone. And then basically, yeah, I started looking for buys around this point, but there was no confirmation yet because I basically normally will wait to see a very big amount of volume coming in, okay? So if I go to the 1 minute here, there's no big volume coming in yet. This is not what I consider big volume. And what you'll see is we ended up going a bit lower, I think, first. Yes, we end up going lower, and then the volume comes in somewhere around here. Boom, okay. So I get my entry somewhere around here when we can see big volume coming in. And also, keep in mind, at this point in time, the 15-minute chart, I'll go and show you, was looking very, very bullish. Yes, it was looking very, very bullish. And I basically anticipated a bullish candle close, which is how I was able to get a very good entry here. And my target for this trade was up here somewhere like this. Now, I ended up closing out at break even on this trade. And I think it's mainly because I moved to break even too fast, which is probably quite bad for me, but maybe I was just trying to keep my profit secured from the trade on Tuesday. But anyway, I moved to break even pretty soon. And then as you'll see, I got stopped out right here. And then what happened is I saw that price was actually respecting this area, and I ended up getting an entry. Sorry guys, I skipped it far too forward. But then I got another entry after having the break even one somewhere around here. And then, like I said guys, the trade will be somewhere on the screen, okay? And then my target was the same as before, something like this. Now, if we play out price, we can see here that we earned some profit. However, I had to close early around here. And the reason why is actually quite an interesting one. It was because I think we had news, but also at the same time, let me just check my battery. If I've got time, yeah, I do. Okay, so this is Thursday. I think we had news. I might be wrong. Let me try to remember. So right here, guys, this shows you that at 1:30, we had a lot of news coming out for the dollar, okay, which is why I ended up closing the trade around this time here, okay? I know my target was up here, but obviously you don't want to hold it for news. So I ended up closing out early there for quite good profit. I can't remember how much it was. It was like maybe $2,000. I took it on a ACG account and also a Goat funded account as well. And that will be up here somewhere, okay? But basically that was the second trade. I ended up closing early about here because of the news. And yeah, that was basically it, okay? I didn't end up trading Friday, and that was it. Like, that was literally the week. Really, really good week. And hopefully, guys, this video has made you realize that it's possible, okay? Weeks like this do happen, and once you actually master trading, you will get to a point, just like me, where you can make over $10,000 in a week. I think that May is probably going to be my best ever month. If we were to combine trading and crypto, then I do think May will be my best month. But yeah, it's just been insane, guys. And I hope you guys can appreciate the video that I've made. I don't know how long this has been. Let me check the time. It's been about half an hour, I think, this video. But it's been a good one. I hope you guys appreciate the value. And make sure to subscribe. And also, if you do want to join my community and take these trades that I literally call out every single time I go live on these calls that I do every single day, then the link to join will be somewhere in the description below. No obligation to join, but simply just book a call with my team, see if you qualify, and if you do, then I can teach you inside of my community and get you to a point where you can see insane results. So yeah, see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.